Welcome to Alternative Dog Moms Podcast. I'm Kimberly Gauthier, the creator of Keep the Tail Wagging. For the past 9 years, I've been blogging about raw feeding, pet wellness, and life as a crazy dog mom. I've seen massive improvements in my dog's health since I started raising my dogs naturally, and I'm passionate about sharing my experience to help other pet parents.
I'm Erin Scott. For the past 9 years, I've been researching and learning everything I can about healing cancer, allergies, autoimmune, and mystery illnesses in both my dogs and myself, and I can't wait to share with you everything I've learned on this journey. As the Alternative Dog Moms, we're bringing you all the latest dog health news that we're following and sharing the tips, tricks, and resources we learn along the way. Now, let's get started. Hello, Kimberly.
Hello, Erin.
How are you? It's just us today.
I know, it was just so weird because it's like there isn't a third voice going, hello. I love that about Angela. Or just Billy going, hi.
Yeah.
It's not how it goes, Billy.
Yeah, I figured he would be like, what the hell are they doing?
Exactly. What did I just sign up for?
Exactly. Well, yeah, my mind is just still reeling. I feel like we've had these great conversations going on lately, like especially, I mean, having Dr. Holly and then having Angela like back to back. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much, like I wanted to do like a post-mortem of like this amazing conversations.
I know. It's so much fun because, gosh, Dr. Holly just blew me away especially because my first experience with animal biome was so negative that, and this experience has been like the polar opposite. It's been so positive. And I actually got their immune supplements as well.
Oh, okay.
It was recommended to me. So I got 2 packages or 2 containers of that. And Scout gets those as a treat. He thinks that they're treats. I sometimes split them up in the day, and sometimes I just give it to him because it's like, oh crap, I forgot. And here, have a wonderful treat. But he's still doing good. We decided to go off of chemo.
Okay.
And just go with natural and see where it gets us. And his oncologist was 100% on board, sent all of his records to his holistic vet. And now she's partnering with her best friend, who is an amazing vet here locally that everyone knows and loves, Dr. Donna Kelleher. And then, my original holistic vet is Dr. Naomi Bierman. And so they're teaming up to work with him together, which is so much fun.
Wow.
Watching these, traditional Chinese medicine minds. And they both have different, like specialties where Naomi is really into the herbs and traditional Chinese medicine. And Donna is into that as well, but she also has other type of little ticks and tricks and all that type of stuff. I think I said tricks and such. And so I'm just excited to see what they end up doing. But in the meantime, Scout's doing great. So
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always excited to see how their minds work at like attacking things from all angles. And I just love that.
Yeah, it's so much fun. But just like, listening to these great minds and just, I loved learning about the process when it comes to animal biome and why they do what they do. That was just like really interesting. And it's one of those where, we miss out on a lot when we don't actually sit and talk to the people behind brands. I think, there is so much that isn't intuitive, like in the report, and it may be somewhere on their website, but it's not something that I saw and was readily in my mind. But us asking her questions and learning all these things, man, it's just like, I don't know, it made me excited about, having dogs.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing that did not make me excited about having dogs lately. So last weekend, Penny and I always take her out for a ride on the weekends. Those car rides are just her favorite thing in the world. And there was some fox poop in our yard, and she rolled in it. And it was about 95 degrees when this happened. So that smelled bad. Do any of your dogs like to roll in poo?
Yes. Not so much poo, but they would. But so well, first of all, something pooed in my flower garden recently. And I'm hoping that it was the deer that were coming through. I'm used to their poo looking a little differently than what this poo was. And one time I actually looked up this poo. There should be an app.
Yes.
There is one, but a poo identification app. But I thought that this was like black bear poo. And so it has me concerned that the black bear was basically at our front door.
Yeah.
And so, but I know that deer have been coming through our property recently. So my thought was like, and deer would come up to our plants because they're going to eat them. And we have vegetables on our patio. So I figure maybe that's deer poo, but I need to look it up again. But mostly my dogs will eat deer poo and rabbit poo. But as far as rolling in things, it's always either a dead mole or a dead snake. And it's funny because I was actually talking to a friend of mine about this. I usually know my dogs are so smart because I keep an eye on them when I'm out because they're far away from me. And I'm just sort of like counting 1, 2, 3, 4 the entire time we're out. Right. Or no one's taken off. And I'll see them in a distance and I'll see them focused on something. And that's when I like, is that what are they doing? And then I see them when they do because they don't just roll into something. They have to they start measuring their neck to figure out, which angle is the best way to go about this. And when you start seeing that movement, that's when I'm like, and it's usually Zoe. It's like, Zoe? And Zoe will stop and she'll look at me. And then I swear she does this and Scout does this. Rodrigo and Apollo don't roll in things, but Scout and Zoe do. And they will look at me and they'll stop for a second, like, uh-oh, mommy said no. But then they'll be like, she is 50 yards away. By the time she gets to me, I will have done all the rolling and I can be like on a different part of the property. And sure enough, and that's what I know, they're going to get at least one side. And it's just like, so I'm so careful when I mow the lawn. We have a really cool riding lawnmower. And I pay attention. I know where the snakes usually are. And I slow down in those areas to give them time to slither off. And I try to keep the death toll to a minimum. And usually when I'm done, if I've killed anything, it's like 1 or 2. Johan, on the other hand, does not care about snakes. And it's not that he's trying to hunt them down, but after he finishes mowing, it feels like he is a murderer. And I think with the snake population on our property, they're just sort of like, when are they going to prosecute that horrible monster? Because he took out my entire family the other weekend. God. I am like, the dogs are smelling everywhere. And I go look to see what they're smelling. And sure enough, it's another. So I spend like an afternoon with the shovel picking up snake carcasses and throwing them into the bushes so the dogs don't roll in them.
Oh my God.
But, yeah. So long story short, yes, my dogs roll on things.
We get dead birds sometimes that Penny will roll in also. And with that I can just get just kind of wipe down, but this was a whole body thing.
Poop and like dead fish, because we've had that happen because we're in the Pacific Northwest. We have a lot of creeks around us. And if a fish gets caught in a creek in a bad place and dies, that is the best thing in the world to roll in, apparently. And, but yeah. And then I also have to deal with, my dogs don't mind eating a carcass. So if they find something and all of a sudden I'll see, basically Scout will find something and then he'll look around because he's looking to see where I am. And I'm like, yeah, I see you. And I'm coming down there to steal your treat because that's disgusting and you need to knock it off. It's like,
we get fish every once in a while. Our whole neighborhood is built around the water. And so we're only like one street away from the Gunpowder River. And so there sometimes birds will be like carrying fish, and you'll get like a dropped fish in your, I mean, it happens more often than you would think. And so yeah, we actually do. And it's usually like a half of a fish too, you know, because they dropped it.
We have herons, and so the herons will come. And so, yeah, we've had that where a fish has been dropped, and it's just like, you're looking at it like, what? And nope, got to get that up. And the worst is, it's funny because it's like, we once years ago buried a fish, and I think like some either a dog or a coyote dug it up. And it was when Rodrigo was a puppy. And maybe that's why he doesn't roll in things now, because he went and he had a heyday with that fish. And I remember Johan carrying him back to the house, and he was just like, he needs a bath. And Rodrigo was just like happy, tail wagging and stuff. But it's just like, no, dude, that's his thing. I think if we had more fish dropping in the yard, he would be rolling in it.
Tim always says that herons are my spirit animal because they have like those awkwardly long legs that just kind of drag around. And I'm so tall that I guess they're my spirit animal.
Yeah, herons, I don't like I think they're beautiful. I'm not a fan. It's funny because we got koi. We stocked our ponds with koi one year. And we have a local guy that raises them. And so we got them at a really great deal. And they were small. And so we were like so excited because we were going to have these beautiful koi in our ponds. And I went and bought a fake owl. And, you know, we had these hidey places for all the fish. We got, what are they called? The lily pads and stuff. So they can hide from the heron. And the otters came and got them. We didn't know that there were wild otters where we live, but there are.
Wow.
And the otter, I don't know how they found them. I don't know. Usually the heron, you know, fly overhead and see them, but I don't know what it was. But an otter came one day, and then she came back a couple of days later with her family, and they had like a $90, I think it's probably like a $90 or maybe $120 meal.
Oh, wow.
And we could see the pond. It was like one morning, Johan was like, they're back. And I looked out the window, the pond is like waves. They were swimming around, having a fun time.
Oh my God.
And they wiped us out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
They've never been back, but they wiped us out. Ugh. So we won't be buying any more koi for the pond.
Yeah.
We'll buy the bass bait. We have bass in there and sunfish. I think they're called sunfish. They survived because they knew to hide. I feel like the koi were like, what are you? And then just didn't know what to do. It sucked. So I understand that you had a visit or went on a trip, a little short drive.
Yes, I had an exciting field trip about 2 weeks ago. It turns out Billy in Lancaster, Pennsylvania is only a little more than an hour from where I live. So he had invited me up to come check out the facility up there, and I got to meet some of the goats, and I was there on a turmeric day, and everybody was dyed yellow, and it was quite an adventure. I'll be sharing some stuff on social media about it too that I've been putting together. It was mind blowing. It was what a amazing, great way to spend a day, let me tell you.
Isn't it funny, like the things that make us happy?
I know. Like, I met the goats that we get our goat milk from. But yeah, they gave me a whole tour, and we had touched on this a little bit when we had Billy on, that they work a lot with the Amish, and that sometimes, especially in the animal welfare community, that there's like a negative association with puppy mills and things like that. And we were discussing how it's so unfair to categorize all people who practice the Amish religion in that way. And so, I really appreciated that they were trying to be super transparent about, where everything comes from, and inviting me to take photos and take videos and, shake hands with everybody. And I was being really like cautious because I wanted to be very respectful of, their religion and their thoughts of technology. And I didn't want to, film or photograph anybody that didn't want that, happening. And so I don't have photos of every single thing. And I might like blur a face out because there's this one photo I really do want to share, but I want to be really respectful.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, it was amazing. Like, they're out there milking goats at like 5:00 in the morning. And by 10:00 in the morning, it's in the, 1/2-gallon jugs and packaged up in the boxes in the freezer waiting for the distributor trucks.
Wow.
And I was just like amazed. So I have kind of like the whole like goat to freezer process that I took photos and videos of. And
do they milk the goats every day?
Yeah, twice a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I met the goats. One of them was trying to eat my bag. It was really amazing, and I appreciated how everyone that we talked to, because we actually went to kind of like to 2 different farms. Everyone that we talked to was like, "Are you happy? Are we doing everything that you want us to? Like, is there anything we could be doing better? Is there anything you want us to do differently?" Like, they want to be doing everything to, Billy's standard, how much respect they have for Billy and for Jacqueline and Roxanne and Chelsea, Kent. They, want everybody to be happy. They want to make sure everything that, they're doing is in line. And they were so concerned about the welfare of the animals. It was about 95 degrees the day that, we were there, and making sure everybody had shade and everybody had water. And it was the care for both the animals and for what they're doing and who they're doing it for really came through.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. It always bothered me. I mean, for obvious reasons, the stereotype that has been labeled onto them, because those type of things never help anyone. But the biggest thing that always concerns me, and no one ever thinks about, is that sometimes, those type of stereotypes, and when people get outraged and start saying things as if it's fact, it emboldens people to take it a step further. And that's what always concerns me, is someone getting hurt because of some stereotypes that people are sharing online. And this doesn't take away from their experience. Like, if you have had an experience with a group of people that has been negative, that'll never change, but that's still not everybody.
Right.
I don't, if I get bit by a dog, I don't think now all dogs bite.
Right.
I got bit by a dog, and and even if I got bit by a dog several times, then I probably need to think about what I'm doing, that I'm getting bit by dogs all the time. But, I totally respect that people have had, a negative experience. It just feels like most of the commentary is just people repeating what they've heard.
Right. Not firsthand experiences. Yes.
And that's what troubles me, and why to me, it's like, if you're willing to do that, about one group, then from where I sit, you're willing to do that about all groups. And that takes away from everything that we're all trying to do, which is basically, share information about how we can have our dogs here for longer, than, what we're used to,
right.
extend their lives. And so I just think it's exciting. So I know that you also, you got some BJ's Raw.
Yeah.
And you got some solutions. You've been getting stuff all over the place. And I got my first batch of Green JuJu ghost milk, but I actually haven't. It's in the freezer because I don't have time to deal with this. I still have so much kefir and goat's milk from 2021. I'm trying to stock up, that I have my Green JuJu, and maybe I'll get to it in a few months, but right now it's just not a priority. I don't know why I even bought it, but I think that, just in case,
right?
Like, it's here, it's just in case, and Erin has it, so I need to get some. And I went to the pet store and they have the turmeric at the pet store, and they have something else. I don't remember what it is. And I almost got those too. And I'm just like, no, Kimberly, no. You are not going to buy this. You don't need it right now. It's just good enough to have it there. But gosh, it's like, I love that everyone's coming out with these really cool products.
Yeah, I have to buy it. Like, if I see it, I have to buy it. Just to even if it's just to try it once, like, I'm totally gonna do it. And just, I love seeing what Penny and Nino think about it. we bought the golden paste and the beets. Nino loves the beets. Oh my gosh. Every time I gave them to him, it was like the first thing that he ate out of like his whole bowl.
Wow.
And Penny will eat anything. I gave her the golden paste. I think she's having some more arthritis kind of stuff going on. So I've been giving that to her. But she runs and jumps and, everything. It's just sometimes when she's getting up off the floor, I can see it, and she gets kind of, shifts her weight. Like she kind of gets down on her shoulders some. So I've been giving her the golden paste. And yeah, we were so excited to try the BJ's food. They have a lot of different formulas available there. Like you can just go right to the farm and the store and buy it. And they have a lot of other products. We got a whole big thing of like sardines. They have their own frozen fish stock that they make there. It's not fermented, but it is fish stock. So Penny loves anything fish. So she was like obsessed with that.
What were the sardines? Was it whole sardines?
Yes. And they were the big ones, Nice. And we got like some tracheas that I was stuffing with all kinds of funky stuff to bribe everybody during nail trim times. And we just got solutions. We picked up some cheese. We picked up one of like all the goat milks. We're still on the first one of that, the goat nog of that. Yeah, I'm going to try all the things for sure.
It is. It's so much fun. One thing I love about BJ's, and I mean, that's why if I lived on the East Coast, I would be really, really pressed to at least add BJ's to the rotation, is the idea of basically going and doing an a la carte to create your own formula for your dogs. I really love the idea of that and think that's pretty brilliant.
Yeah, we tried Billy's blends. We got it was the rabbit and salmon blend. We did the turkey mix. I loved all the different options. I need more freezer space too. But yeah, I was like, I definitely want to add this in. And I think they even have free shipping now to certain states, and because I'm in Maryland, I'm in that range or whatever. So I was like, ooh that's definitely getting added into the rotation. And again, like this was just something that I just appreciate, right? Like I appreciate the idea of like knowing where your food comes from and not losing sight of that, because I think we're so disconnected as a society, as a culture, from like where our food's actually coming from, and I appreciate that. And so, we were at two different farms. Well, the son from the one farm was working at the other farm for the summer. And, like they all know each other. They all know who's raising the animals that are being processed or being, like everybody knows it. And I appreciate that. Like they literally all know where everything's coming from. And I have a hard time thinking about it sometimes. And
I know. I have friends that raise their own animals, and they're going to start raising beef, and they're talking about that. And I know that, my dogs get the organs and, and basically anything else that they're not going to have, I get first pick at. And it's hard to think about, because I know that for me personally, I get attached, and I would not, want to slaughter an animal, but, to be able to buy food and know that the animals were raised very well, they were fed very well, and that, their comfort was taken into consideration at the time of slaughter, that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
I just wish that it was more commonplace where, because, what comes with all of that is also a bigger price, because everything in that segment of the food industry, it's not so much that it costs so much. And it's just that, it's not as cheap. I feel like it costs probably what it should be cost. But when we do stuff, when we mass produce stuff, and that includes, the raising and slaughtering of animals, there are, it's cheaper for some people and they can pass those along. But, I just think about, while you were talking, I thought about Dr. Judy Morgan and, food energetics, and the fact that, when you work with companies like BJ's and stuff or buy from them, the turkey is a cooling protein and the beef is, a neutral protein and the pork is a cooling, all of these, the proteins actually match what they are because they haven't been overly processed. They've been fed a healthy diet. They live a stress-free life. And so, the meat is just so much healthier.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah.
Oh, and I got to drink fresh goat milk that had never been frozen. Oh my God, it was really good. I don't know if you know this about me, but I am not the world's most adventurous eater. So I was a little like, all right, never had goat milk before. Here we go. And I'm like, oh, this is really good. And I and he's like, oh, you don't have to drink the whole thing. I'm like, oh no, I'm drinking the whole thing. Like, how often do I get to drink fresh goat milk? That was amazing. Yeah.
Was it warm?
No. It was, it had been it had already been milked and in the cooler kind of thing. But yeah, I was like, this is amazing. Right out of a bucket. I mean, it was a whole, you couldn't get more farm than that. It was very cool. So cool. I'm such a suburbs girl, so this was very cool for me.
Well, and I think this, because when I think about animals on farms and stuff, I love the idea that BJ's uses the entire animal. So, nothing is going to waste. Not that, I'm sure that they can do other things. And I know that I met a woman who, she and her husband raise all of their own meat and everything. And I asked them, I was like, so what do you do with the organs? And she was like, oh, we eat them. And she was telling me all these, they use the entire animal.
Wow.
And, the parts that they literally can't have, they give to their dogs. And I was just like, that is so amazing.
Yeah.
You guys are totally self-sustaining. That is so amazing. I love that. And I would love to be that way. I would, all the animals would be named. They would have hats on. And
yeah, I feel like I would kind of be that way too. But that's why I guess it's extra special to appreciate. Because we have a farm local to us where we get a lot of our meat that Tim and I eat from. And it's actually right around the corner from where I grew up. In fact, one of my friends works there. And her day job is she's an animal cruelty investigator for the prosecutor's office. And she so admires what they do at this farm. She's now works at the farm. She's learning regenerative agriculture so that she can be a farm manager and stuff. And so, she was geeking out. She was like, oh my God, if you ever get to go there again, I want to go up to Lancaster. She was so excited about it. And then we had the whole Amish conversation also that she and I have both evolved our thinking. And it actually made me think of the Rodney quote about learn, unlearn, relearn, that, some of what we've heard before might be true, but it's not true for everyone. So
yeah. And things change. It's so funny because I was talking to someone about raw feeding earlier today. And, I was thinking, the person that I was in 2013 when I first started feeding raw, compare that to the person I was in 2018 and then the person that I am today and my thoughts and feelings on raw feeding. Everything has changed because we get new information. Our dogs teach us so much. And, my journey went from every dog should be fed raw. This is the best diet ever. I don't know why you would feed kibble. That's insane. To every one of my dogs should be fed raw. Feeding kibble would be insane. I would never do it. I pray that I don't ever have to. And it stops there. What other people choose to feed their dogs, there's a story there. And until I know the story, I just don't touch it. I don't judge it because it's not as easy as, some people want to act as if, oh, well, you don't care for your dogs as much as I do. I've never felt that. I just always felt that, oh, well, you haven't been enlightened yet, and it's like raw feeding is a big MLM and I have to hey, can I have a party at your house? Can I tell you about this new opportunity? But it's just, gosh, everything is changing. And I love that about it. That's what makes it so much fun.
Yeah, this was just definitely a blast. I'm so appreciative to Billy and to everybody at BJ's and the farmers. And I had, I had brought gifts of local honey for them because I was like, well, this is where I'm from.
That's so thoughtful. Because I would not have done that if I were flying out. Even if they flew me out there, it would never have occurred to me to bring a gift. And I'm just such a horrible person because
I was just so appreciative. For me, it's because the county that I live in is known historically anyway for farming and for agriculture and stuff. I don't know. It was like, this is where I'm from. It was like what I was thinking
I'm
about.
around farms too.
Yeah. Yeah. So just so you know how nutty I am, I had brought 4 different shoe options to wear in the car with me because I wasn't sure. It was so hot. So I knew I couldn't just wear like flip-flops, but I didn't want to drive, but I wanted to drive in flip-flops, and then I'm like, well, I don't know how muddy it's going to be. So I went with my waterproof sneakers, and that was the right choice.
That's just smart thinking. It's better than me packing, 15 pairs of socks on a trip to Vegas that's going to last 2 days. And I'm not going to be wearing any socks the entire time. But that's my thing. I will not. I've tried not to pack socks on trips when I knew I didn't need them, and I just feel uncomfortable. So I used to just like have a package of socks that was still like bent in the binding, and I would just put that in a suitcase just so I know I'm not going to use them, but they're there just in case something happens and I need to have socks.
Well, I don't have good boots, I guess, because I'm so not a like farm girl. I didn't have good like farm boots, so that's why I was like bringing all these other things.
You got to get those UGG boots that I have. Those boots.
Yes, I need to get a pair. I need a good pair of rain boots or something. Anyway,
I love my UGG rain boots. They're just, I've had them for years too. I think I got them right when, I think I got them in 2020 because I got those and then these really cool tennis shoes. I asked to, I think we were on a conference call, a Zoom call meeting. And I was just like, I'm walking the dogs more. So I need some good, none of my tennis shoes are good for this. They're great for a walk here and there, walk around the yard, but not on long, because at first I used to do like these 5-mile walks and stuff. And I was really loving working from home. And I'd be on the phone with one of a friend or just listening to music or a podcast or just having a random conversation with my dog. And I needed good shoes. And so I ordered those. And as a last minute, I was just like, oh, I need some rain boots too. And I got the UGG rain boots. And I barely wear the tennis shoes. I do have worn them, but the UGG rain boots, they're on my feet the second it starts raining consistently all the way through winter and part of spring. I love them.
I've got to get a pair.
Best UGG boots ever. The ones I have though, I don't know if they are still available. Cause I was looking them up cause I was going to buy a second pair and I couldn't find them. So I don't know if it's just cause I got them through Zappos. I don't know if they're just not there, but Zappos still has other ones. So I'm still going to get another pair cause I want kind of a shorter pair. But anyway, that's my boot talk.
But yeah, it was a great trip up there, and not that far, and a gorgeous drive. It was, and I got to meet Emily and Maple, so
and I loved all the pictures in your video, your 5-second video that showed a half a second of a buggy, and I had to watch it twice to see what is she trying to show me.
That's what happens when I'm trying to record while driving. You shouldn't use your cell phone while driving. This is why. It was like I was at a traffic light and I saw it up ahead and I was trying to get everything like set up so I could just anyway. You saw how it turned out.
Well, that's what's so funny, don't you? I always wonder, like when they would have the Karen videos, where sometimes I'm convinced that most of those are fake simply because what it takes to get a camera ready to record on the fly, like in a hurry, I'm so spastic that I can't, that my video would come out the way yours did. The other day, I was filming the deer that were on the yard. I'm stunned that video came out. And then I got all 3 deer in the video, because in my pictures, I don't.
Right.
I mean, the pictures, I did the picture and there's like a deer, like, is that a deer leg? And then a deer, like, they're so spread out. But I'm stunned that I got the video, because usually I'm shaking because it's like I'm in
right. You're trying to do it. Yeah.
And then I accidentally hit it and the camera turned to look at me and it's like, no, turn around. And by the time I finish everything, and by the way, I'm trying, even though I'm inside, I'm trying to be quiet. I'm obviously loud enough because the deer are all looking at me like, oh, there she is. Is she filming again? Yeah, she's filming. And it's just like, oh, let's just stand here and let us, because she'll come outside. if she, but yeah, it's just like, it's so hard. So yeah, I thought your buggy video was well done.
Because I didn't know if you knew that, like, you're literally just like driving down the road and there's like a horse and buggy. I was like, oh, you might think that's neat or something.
I do think it's cool. I've been to Pennsylvania once, and we went to Amish country. I was dating a guy that was from Maryland, actually. He lived in Maryland, and we went to Pennsylvania and got like a hotel and just hung out. And it was really kind of cool, just the area. But that was the cool thing. It's sort of like here, I drive around and I see horses and cows, and none of that surprises me. But although I've lived here for 13 years, I guess, almost 13 years in this area, when I see a deer, everything stops. I lose my ever living mind. And there's now a property down the road that has a ton of horses. So that's like my new obsession. And I need to go and park someplace and just stand with my camera phone trying to get all the horses. But I love that too. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, I don't blame, it's not something you see all the time. Sometimes
I certainly don't.
Just driving down the road. And I get excited about that, because it's like, whoa, look at that. Where do you think he's going? Why is he out here? Is he just going, what's happening? And I have so many questions. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just really curious about a lot of things when it comes to the Amish. And as far as just like, good on you for, rejecting. It's not so much technology. Technology is wonderful. It's social media. It's like,
yeah.
You're dodging a bullet, guys.
And the work ethic of everyone was also, of course it was summertime, and so I don't know how their whole education system works, but I mean, I did not see very many women, working where at all with the farm stuff, but from like 5 years old, through teenager. I mean, they were all working, they're all in the little outfits and the hats and and, everybody, like, it was a golden paste day when I was there, and everybody's, hands are yellow and they're filling those squeezy containers, and had an assembly line going. And also Billy just started working with them a little over a year ago. And I mean, they built this whole infrastructure to be able to do all this whole freezer, like this whole ginormous freezer. I mean, it has to be at least 20 feet high, maybe taller. I'm bad at measurements, but it was like they built all of this in the past year themselves.
Oh, wow.
And when you order the BJ's food and they ship it to you, and it ships in the like those coolers, they make all of the cooler material themselves. They don't buy that, like, it's not like the styrofoam coolers that usually, like, they make all of that themselves, because they found out they could make it like cheaper and easier and better, they think, themselves, than buying these outside. So just looking at just how much of everything that they're making themselves, and how quickly they have gotten all of this up to speed, again, just completely mind-boggling. And also, everyone is just so kind and so excited. Chris is the main contact for BJ's and for the Green JuJu facility that I met. And I mean, he's like so excited about what he's doing, and so proud of all that they've done and built, and I mean, like, it was like infectious, just how happy he was, and how, and he's like, you got to see the machine, and like he was very excited, and I just it's just like, you appreciate, like, how much pride and how much joy it brings them to be able to do this, and how important it is for them to do this good job. And I met their dogs too, because they have like farm dogs and working dogs. And anyway, it was a really cool trip, and I just I really appreciated it on a deep level of like what this means for them, for their families, for their culture, for their economy, to be able to do this, as well as what that kind of like that good energy is all then going into my dogs too.
That's awesome. I haven't tried any new food. Have I? No. Have I? No. I have started, because I'm really starting to dive deeper into DIY, with limitations. But so I ordered 2 cases of, was it 2 cases? Yeah, 2 cases of whole duck. Each case had 6 whole ducks in it, so 12 whole ducks. And so now I'm sharpening knives, and I have found that it's easier to process the ducks outside, because it is quite the mess using a meat cleaver and chopping a whole duck down so I can grind it. So I have, I think 1, 2, 3, 4. I've done 4 so far. I have 2 thawing right now. And then I have 6 more to go. And so what I need to do is I'm just slowly trying to go through and thaw the duck each week, and then chop it up and grind it up, because I need to make room in my freezer for an upcoming order that's coming. But it's not as bad. I've sort of been doing I call it a lazy DIY, or not even a lazy DIY. A lot of things come pre-ground nowadays. If it's, coming for raw dog foods, a lot of brands have figured out that if they grind it themselves, they can charge a higher price. So a lot of things are coming pre-ground. Going back and grinding things again was, I'm so glad I got a new grinder, because it's working very well. It does very well with all the duck bones, but I haven't had to do this in so long.
Well, this is where I just like admire the heck out of you, because like I'm going to pay the extra money. Like I am not the DIY girl in that regard. I am not going to process a duck. I'm just not like, and I admire it. Like a part of me wishes I was a little more that way, but I am not that girl.
I just, it's funny, because it's like we go, through these, when I first started, I was very much do it for me. And then I don't need to know what it was. I don't need to do anything. I just want to open a package, put it in a bowl, and feed my dogs. That was my raw feeding journey. And then, that got too expensive. So, and we kept adding dogs, which is why it got too expensive. And so I jumped into DIY. Johan actually used to help me, where we would be sitting there chopping. One of us would be chopping and one of us would be grinding. But today I have a better grinder, and I can do it all myself super fast. But yeah, it is, it's funny, because there have been times I've been outside. If I'm dealing with anything that's going to make a big mess, and it's, summertime, I just do it outside. And so there was one year I had a bunch of emu bones, and I was going to make bone broth, but the bones were too long. You couldn't just put them in the pressure cooker. And I don't even think I had a pressure cooker back then. I think it was a slow cooker, but it doesn't matter. So I was outside, and I was putting the bones in a towel and with a mallet and just beating them down with the towel. And I'm just doing this, I have, my earbuds in, I'm listening to a podcast, and I'm doing this, and my neighbor walks up, and he's just like, what is she doing? And I didn't realize it, but he and Johan were just watching me, and Johan's like, yeah, she feeds the dogs that raw and stuff like that. And he's like, how did she know to get the towel? I was just like this is a precursor to something, but I just felt it was a good idea, because I didn't want to, it was Johan's mallet, and I knew he wouldn't be happy if I was using his mallet to break raw bones. I mean, I would clean it. I did clean it, but I knew that he wouldn't be happy. So I just figured I'd get a towel, and then I could just put the towel in the wash. But yeah, it's just, and now the other day I was doing that with cutting the only thing that sucks are the flies. So it's like, if it's too hot, it's not a good idea to do it outside, because the flies are like, oh, finally, let me get some relief. And it's just like, I'm batting away flies while I'm trying to cut things up. But Yep.
That's hardcore.
I try. What's really hardcore are the people who like the bowls we see on Instagram with all the different ingredients.
Yeah, I have to like hide some of those because I'm like, I don't want to see like an eyeball like when I'm scrolling. Like,
I know. I just like whenever I get a pretty meal, and my meals are never like those, but whenever to me, a pretty meal is when it's clean and not everything's all mixed up together. And so you have like, there's duck feet in here, and maybe there's a scoop of vegetables and a scoop of like pureed sardines, and then their regular mince type of thing. Oh, it looks so pretty and neat. And so I'll take a picture, and I don't even always share the picture. I'll just take a picture just so I can have it because it's like, oh, that's a nice one. But yeah, these beautiful meals with all like, I love the ones where it has, fish in it, and, and it has, quail egg, and just all these random, some spleen and some.
And then there'll be like a duck head and like, I am not that girl.
The ones with the black chicken, or, just all these different things that they're adding to the bowl. And I'm always curious, like, are you adding them because you have them? Or do you actually really know what each thing is doing? Like, because to me, I will be honest, I don't know. I would have to look it up. But I know that the food that I feed my dogs is doing what they need it to be doing. But if I go away from what I do, like my little routine, which is so basic and simple, it's not even funny, I wouldn't know. And it would take me forever to put together a meal because I would be trying to make it look pretty. And my dogs don't care.
No. No, they inhale it. I don't know. Penny acts like somebody's going to take it away from her, I mean, like, girl, you've been with us. This month will be 7 years since I found Penny, and it's like nobody's ever taken her food away from her, but she, she wolfs it down.
Yep. So Zoe and Apollo isn't a wolfer. What's funny is, and I love Apollo for this, he likes my food better than commercial raw. So when I feed him commercial raw, he's sort of sniffing it around like, oh, okay, I'll eat it, but I'm not happy. But when I put my food in there, he's down for that. Rodrigo's kind of the opposite. He really loves commercial raw. And I usually mix in my food because I usually buy commercial because it's super ground, and then I can cook it a little bit. And then I mix in some of my raw, and that's what he eats. Scout will just eat, thank God, will eat anything and everything, which I appreciate. Actually, that's not true. I am giving him vegetables, so he can feel less hungry because, prednisone. And I'm also giving Zoe vegetables because she needs to stay within a certain weight. And so I give her vegetables. But because it matters, like right now they're eating chopped up is it asparagus? Yeah, it is. Chopped up asparagus with broccoli. And so I'll just put a couple of spoonfuls on their plate, but I sprinkle it with the air dried organ mix by Real Dog Box. So I think I have liver and spleen. I think it's either bison liver and spleen or beef liver and spleen. I don't remember, but I sprinkle that on it, and it looks like I'm putting like big chunks of pepper all over it. And so I put that on it. But usually what I do to get it to stick to it, it's a good idea to add a little MCT oil from Cocoa Therapy. So I'm just going to get all the name dropping out. And then I'll put the sprinkles on it, the organ mix on it. And he'll eat the vegetables down. So he wanted more food, and he was like, I'm going to go to Zoe's bowl and I'm going to eat her vegetables since she's eating something else. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. So I gave him more vegetables, and he sniffed around and then just looked at me, and then he looked over at Zoe's bowl, and then he sniffed at his, and then he just looked at me. And so I was just like, okay. And I didn't get the MCT oil, but I just went and put the sprinkles on it, and then he ate his vegetables. But yeah.
So did they have any favorite vegetables? Because I will tell you, Penny goes crazy for cauliflower.
Wow.
Crazy. Yes. She will go nuts for cauliflower. It's like her favorite thing in the entire world.
I don't know if my dogs have any favorite vegetables.
I mean, you don't have to put anything on it. Like, she will eat it in any form, anywhere, anytime.
I think I'll get some cauliflower. Green beans are a big hit in our house. Green beans. And so I usually get them. I prefer to get them frozen and just in a bag, and then I heat them up. I usually thaw them up, heat them up a little bit, and everyone will always, I don't have to do anything to them, but green beans are a huge hit in this house. I love that. But broccoli, they'll eat broccoli. They're not really a fan of the floret, so I have to chop that up good, but they like the stem and they like asparagus. Everything is likable, but the green beans are something that if I put green beans in the bowl, they're gone by the time because I will split a can if I have a can or something, but I split it between all dogs as a snack or something. By the time I get to the last dog, the first dog is like, more? Is there any more beans? Because they're gone. That's what but I should try cauliflower. I mean, they've had cauliflower, like I've added pureed into my veggie mix, but I have added cauliflower because I have mixed vegetables that I get from Costco. And it's cauliflower, carrots, and broccoli. And something else, but I don't remember what. And they like those.
Yeah, there's a soup that I like to make for myself that you use like cauliflower and carrots as like the base of it. And so I'm always chopping up all this cauliflower and stuff. And oh my God, like she goes insane for cauliflower. I mean, it's like her favorite thing in the world.
It's so funny. Dogs crack me up so much. They're just like so hilarious.
The only thing they won't eat is like spinach, like raw spinach. They'll eat it if it's steamed. But, if I'm like pouring, the spinach into the steamer bowl or something and a raw leaf falls out there, she'll come running over and then she's like, and like spits it back out.
My dogs are like that with kale.
Yeah.
Like, not into it. I think it's because it has a bitter taste to
it. Yeah.
Not into it. But they love romaine lettuce. Not all of them. It's mostly Scout and then Zoe. Apollo will walk around with a lettuce leaf. Rodrigo will eat a little bit, but then he's like, what am I eating? I'm not going to eat this. Apollo will just walk around with it. And if a dog comes near him, then he'll start eating it. But if he's not going to come near him, he'll just have his lettuce leaf. But Zoe's like, is this what we're eating? Okay, I guess I'll eat this. And Scout is just, I remember doing a video of Scout because his eyes are all big and he just like snatches it and goes and just eats it as fast as possible. It's like, is there any more? And so I used to actually buy romaine lettuce and just tear off a leaf. It's like if Scout says he's hungry, don't believe him. Give him some romaine lettuce. And he's just like, yeah, I'll eat that. Yes, delicious.
I love how they just all have their preferences. Like that just never ceases to amaze me. Nino is very funny because some days he will like certain things and then other days he will not. And like with carrots, Penny's, half biting your finger off to eat a carrot. And some days he'll like take it like between his lips and he's kind of like, I don't know.
My favorite is when they take something from me and they're like, excuse me, but I'm going to go ahead and eat this in the other room.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm not
That's
trying
Penny.
to poison you.
That's Penny. Yeah, she's always like, yeah, excuse me, I'm good to have this in the dining room. Yeah. Because we joke about that because, like, we're usually eating in the kitchen. It's like, well, she's fancy. She wants to go in the dining room.
Yeah. That's actually, it's funny because that's where Rodrigo goes. He goes into the dining room or he'll go and lay on his bed. I gave him, they had all eaten and I don't know why. I think I had like a few duck feet left and I was just like, I'm not going to, or no, it was quail. I chopped up quail and I had a few pieces left and I was like, I'm not going to save these for another meal. So whoever was done eating, I gave them a piece of quail. And so everyone just stood there and ate it. But Rodrigo took his into the other room. Johan wasn't home or else I would have made him come back because Johan hates it when he does that. He just laid on his bed and he just ate it, just laid there. And it's like, oh, well, are you comfortable, Rodrigo?
Yeah.
Can I get you anything? Do you need a palate cleanser? I mean, it's just like, he's so funny. I know they crack me up, but that's what it is to have dogs. That truly is. Oh, so I didn't discover Winco. I went to Winco, and Winco is an employee-owned grocery store chain here. I don't know where. I mean, it's obviously in different areas of the country, but it's here too. And I've been there many times, but just for me, basically, or I was with somebody. It's not a membership place like Costco, but so I've been there. But I was in the area the other day and decided to just swing in. I think it was Saturday or Sunday and just to look around.
Isn't it fun to go to different grocery stores?
Yeah, it is. I was just blown away because I'm looking around, and of course, I'm trying not to like smile and look creepy as I'm looking at all the meat, but I'm just looking, and I'm turning around and I'm looking at other people like, are they seeing these prices? This is amazing. Fish heads. There's no fish heads at my grocery store. What the hell? And so I got fish head. They had mackerel. I almost bought all the mackerel, because I'm that person that buys everything. Yes, I'm the selfish person that doesn't leave stuff behind for other people. No shame here. But this time I made a point of not buying everything, since it's not like a pet store. But they only had one package of fish heads. They had like 4 packages of mackerel, but I have several huge containers filled with sardines. So I was like, I don't need mackerel today. I'm going to stick with the sardines. But the pork chops, because I actually have some pork chop treats going right now in the dehydrator, because the pork chops, at first I saw these family packs and they're $5. And I'm like, what? And then as I'm going through looking for all the $5 package, I saw $4. And I'm like, what? So then I'm going through and I'm pulling up packages and moving things aside to find all the $4. And I saw a $3 package. And I'm like, what? And so I get as many of I get 4, and I think one $3 package and all the $4 packages. And then I'm walking around and I see more pork chops. And that's where they were pretty much all $3 ones. So I put back all the $4 ones, got all 3. And I'm just like, wow, I think I got 5 or 6 packages with 4 pork chops each in every package. So It was just like, so I got about 24 pork chops. Some fast math there for you. And so I'm like really quite proud of that. So I'll be making jerky with just trimming off the fat and slicing them up, putting them in the dehydrator to make jerky for the dogs. Or it's not really jerky. I call it jerky, but it's just treats. But yeah, what else was there? Oh, the rabbit. That was cool. Whole rabbit. I've never seen whole rabbit in the store. It is expensive there as well. It's cheaper than the pet food companies that are selling rabbit. It's cheaper than them in this area, because their rabbit is usually between $8 and $10 a pound for rabbit. But this was $7 something a pound. So it's still like, each rabbit was like $20 something. And my dogs don't live that well. So the rabbit stayed at Winco. But yeah, it was so many cool things there. So now I want to go back. I think maybe I'll go like when it first opens. I don't know why that matters to me. But I feel like, I won't have so many people around and I won't be in people's way as I'm digging through piles and people are standing there like, is she taking all of the pork chops? But someone's shared like about different organ meat that they could have and all that. But yeah, and there's a new ethnic market in our town. And so someone who follows me, who turns out she just lives down the road, she was like, you need to go there because they have a bunch of stuff. And so I'm like, really, that's going to be on the docket for tomorrow, is I'm going to go over there and see what they have, because I want to make fish treats. I'm kind of spooked about like what it'll do to my dehydrator. Like afterwards, every treat that I make is now going to have a
smell like fish. Yeah, treats. Yeah.
So I'm like not really excited about that, but we'll see. We'll see.
Tim went on a homemade jerky making kick a while ago, like probably 7-8 years ago. And he was doing canning also. And he was like making his own pickles and things like that. So we have some of that stuff. And he went through a phase. I don't know. So I don't know if we still have, because I should try that. Should try making my own treats, because that I could handle.
It was so easy. Like I made these turkey treats and I was sharing them with dogs because they were dogs I know. So I wasn't just randomly giving dogs treats. But there's 3 dogs, a group of us get together every Sunday to go to a local brewery. And you can bring your dogs. And so I actually brought the treats to for my friend, and then I opened them. I had a very hard time with the scissors that the brewery gave me. I don't know why, but and they all, instead of helping me, everyone just stood there and watched me as like absolutely mangled this bag trying to cut it open. It was like using, like they were having me use, like those dull kids.
Right, like kindergarten
worse, they would be like left-handed dull kids. It was horrible. I got enough of a hole in there that I was able to rip it open. And so I was sharing treats, and my friend was like, the treats that you bought me. And I'm like, I know, but look how much they love them. It's because I'm so good at this. I'm good at making treats. But those are so easy to make, and the absolute best treats. It actually comes from Dr. Lori Kosher. And I think on her post, it's sort of like the best jerky treats ever or something like that.
Oh, I'll have to look for that. I'm going to try it.
They are the best jerky treats and they're super. I'm just going to quickly tell you how to make them because it's so freaking easy. And then you can do whatever you want to with them. But my recipe is because I got the ground turkey was on sale at the grocery store. I bought all of it because that's what I do. I put 5 pounds of ground turkey into a huge bowl, mushed it down with a potato masher. I added 3 heaping spoonfuls of organic sweet potato, in the can, and 3 spoonfuls of a veggie mix. I actually use Green JuJu because I had it thawed out, but I basically, they have the little tiny, I think it's little tiny containers. I don't remember how many ounces. I think they're 4 ounces. I just basically emptied that container into the bowl, but it's about 3 heaping spoonfuls. And I mixed it all up really well together. We have a huge, gigantic cutting board. So I took that, laid wax paper on it, put my meat, half of my meat, or like a third, because, it's a lot of meat, 5 pounds of my meat mixture, put another piece of wax paper on top of that. Turns out I don't own a rolling pin. So I need to go buy one. So I use my Louisville Slugger and I rolled it out.
Works just as well.
I rolled it out, not too thin, because and just to try to get it as consistent as possible. Then I use a pizza roller to roll slices in it, and then I use a spatula to lift it up and transfer it to the dehydrator tray. And basically, I was 5 pounds filled my entire dehydrator tray, and I was like pushing stuff next to each other, and to make it was a tight fit.
So do you make them like little squares or spoonfuls or
long strips?
Okay.
And sometimes in some areas, it's a little triangle or something because of the edges. But for the most part, they're just long strips. I think when I put them in there, they're probably maybe 4 inches long. And then they shrink up.
Yeah. But
yeah, I dehydrate them for 19 hours and boom, they're great. I take them out. I put them into containers. I do the food saver bags and vacuum seal them.
Yeah.
I have to seal them twice, and then I put them in the freezer until I need them.
Nice.
And so every time I find discounted meat, and it has to be very lean. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be. I like very lean because I worry about the fat.
Right.
Absolutely ruining my dehydrator. So but next time I find some chicken or turkey, I prefer turkey, ground that's on sale, I'm going to do the exact same thing because it was really kind of cool. I don't like dehydrating chicken hearts because that's what's at our grocery store, because they turn into these little tiny little pebbles. And so they're great for training treats, but you don't get as much bang for your buck by the time it's dehydrated. But with this, I did. So I was so proud of myself. I just want to run around town giving people look at what I did. Look what I did. I made these. This is awesome.
That's awesome. I feel like I should be able to do that.
Yeah. It's that's basically, I am not a cook type person. I am an order out type person or buy pre-made meal at the store person. I buy salad in the bag, and I have a few recipes, and I wouldn't even call them recipes, but I have a few things. I have lots of cookbooks because I follow instructions. That's how. Me
too.
But I have a few recipes that I can do. I can make spaghetti sauce. You make spaghetti sauce by going to the store and buying spaghetti sauce. And then you pour it in a pot, and then you add more garlic and add more marjoram. And
dressing up. Yeah.
Add a spoonful of sugar, and then it's ready to go. Add the meat, it's ready to go. But yeah, I'm not a cook. So to me, the treats, that's wow.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to be on a TV show, on a cooking show, and showing the world, look at what I'm doing.
Tim, I am very spoiled at my house because Tim is an amazing cook and he loves it. Not so much during the week. I mean, he will cook during the week, but like he loves having like a Saturday or a Sunday to because he will make like sauce from scratch and have it like simmering all day. And I always joke that he was like a little old Italian lady in another life or something, you know. And
does he sit watching cooking shows and heckles them?
He does watch a lot of cooking shows, although he's out there watching Forged in Fire right now. That's like, you know, his man show or whatever. But he does watch like all the, because that's how he learned a lot. It was like watching like Rachel Ray and stuff like that.
People, I think he turned the fan on, so it's going to, hopefully you can't hear it. Oh my God. Speaking of turn the fan on. So it's summertime here, not as hot as where you are, or anyone else apparently, but for us, we're like on, you know, the 7th level of hell and it's horrible. So we have our windows upstairs go side to side and we have portable AC units, but they're to go into windows that go up and down.
Oh,
so I took a video and I need to put it on because I wanted to take a video showing like the things that Johan has made from scratch. I mean, this man is astounding and should have his own show. And he should just have his own show, not because there apparently is no, you know, a real need because, you know, tons of men who can make things from scratch have a TV show nowadays and we watch them and love them. But Johan should have one too because he will get something in his head. He'll look around to see what we have here to that he can cut up and fashion up. And then he'll go to the store and get whatever he needs. And then he'll put it together and it's beautiful. And I mean, it's just like, what the hell? I mean, I try to do that. Like he redid our stairs. And so like the trimmings off of the risers and stuff, I saved them all because I was like, I'm going to make something with it. And he's like, okay. I still have them. They're in a pile. I mean, I have no idea what I look at them waiting for the inspiration to hit me and me just know what it's going to be. And all I see is a pile of different shaped pieces of wood. I don't know, but he can do this. So I did a video to show just a few things that he's made around the house. And then I have the video showing my DIY project, which isn't the yard, the fencing thing, because I feel like I had help with that because I called the owner of the company many times just near tears because it was so hard to do and it was supposed to be so easy because I'm just not a DIYer. But so with the AC unit, with the window that goes side to side, I went and took the piece that the hose goes in and I put it there. And then I like sort of measured with a shoe. I took my shoe, I wear a size 8 and I measured like how much was open window. And so then I walked around the house and I did all this when Johan was away because I wanted to surprise him. And I walked around the house looking for something that would be around that height. And I found a piece of I found like a cardboard box. And so I ripped an edge of it off and I was like, this is going to be it. I could take it, turn it into a triangle and make it fit that hole and it'll block the rest of the window. And then I can pull the blinds down to make sure it stays and close the window. And I did it, turned on AC and boom, we have AC upstairs now.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like so proud of myself. It's so ghetto, but I'm so proud of myself because that's my DIY project. I'm more than positive that he will go and get a piece of wood because he has like, I don't know if you call it a miter saw. I don't know the names of tools, but he'll cut the right oval hole into it. He'll trace it and cut it in there and make it. And that'll be the final fix. But I'm really quite proud of mine.
That is awesome. I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not that person either. It must be the same part of your brain that controls like parallel parking because I can't do that either.
I can parallel park on my right, but I can't do it on my left.
Mm.
So I will have to like go around the corner different ways. And then what's worse is that I'll overthink it and I'll just be going around the corner over and over again and wondering why I'm not on the right side to
right.
Not realizing those.
Yeah, it's all the same.
And do this. Yeah. I'm embarrassed when it comes to that. My other thing is I can't pull into a parking space to the left. So, I mean, unless it's at an angle, But sometimes with like, if I have to pull into a parking space to the left, I don't know what is wrong with me, but I can do it to the right all day long.
I definitely have a side that like is easier and a side that's like, crap. Here we go.
I'm like, oh my gosh. There's a guy on TikTok that just cracks me up because he talks about people and their driving and stuff. And it's so freaking funny because it's like, I mean, I'm a good driver. But yeah, it's the parking that gets me.
Yeah.
Parking. And then the worst is when you're like too close to a car. So you back out to readjust, and all you did was just back out and go back in, and you're exactly
the same.
Even though you did things with the wheel and all this, it didn't do anything. And sometimes when Johan's in the car with me, he was just like, "What was that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I have no idea what I don't." But it didn't work, and I still can't open my door because it's like it's embarrassing.
So when I was a teenager, I hit 3 cars that all of them were parked. 2 of them were when I was going in reverse. So yeah, the parking in the reverse has still always made me like a little nervous.
When I was a 16, my friend Nicole, and I think she turned 16 first, but we both were doing the permits. So she was allowed to drive by herself first, but we had our permits and stuff. And she was driving and she was super nervous. And I guess a big truck was coming. And she freaked out and she hit a whole line of cars. And then she stopped, jumped out of the car, and just ran home.
Oh my God.
And where we lived, in the area of Portland that we live, even though it's a big area, it's still very much a small town. So you couldn't do anything in secret. Someone saw you. So, by the time she got home, I'm sure people were calling to say, and even like everyone was like, "Are she okay?" And, but it always reminds me of, that Clueless, when they get on the freeway by accident. It always reminds me of that. And whenever I watch that movie, I think of that because I was like, that's true. That's a true story.
It's actually funny you say Clueless because anytime I see somebody like roll through a stop sign, I always think I totally paused.
I totally plan to brake for animals.
Like I literally think that like every day at some point.
We have a 4-way stop at the bottom of our hill, and it always cracks me up when someone pauses and then just goes through as if none of us are still sitting here.
Oh, right.
And in the wintertime when it's snowing, it's known, just come to a stop if you can, but understand that there's a good chance the other people can't stop. And so we need to just wait and see if everyone can stop. And I remember one time we did that, and one guy was like, he was trying to stop, but it wasn't happening. He just goes through and he's just like, I don't know. And we're all like, "Hey, we got you. Be careful." And it's just, oh my gosh, I like driving. Oh, before we wrap up, just a little TV talk. Most hated man in the world.
Yes.
Most hated man in America.
Yes, we watched that over the weekend and I'm still angry about it. And Tim was very triggered.
Okay, so him, when he gave up his website and then like in 5 minutes was back to being he was ashamed for like 5 seconds and then went back to, it's like, but I loved that the ending was that he was invited to participate and he originally was. And it's like, what did we think it was going to be? Oh, or when he went on Anderson Cooper and just the backlash. I mean, it's like, dude.
Yeah. So were you ever aware of that guy or that website?
I knew that there was a website out there, but I didn't know much about it, or I didn't know anything about that guy, though.
Yeah, I had never heard of his name. I'd never heard of the website. I heard of the phenomenon, but I, was not familiar with it at all. And I was
the revenge porn thing I've heard of. I don't know if I was aware that there was a specific website. I thought it was just one of those where people were just putting it everywhere.
Right. That's what I thought too. Because Tim and I were like, how did we miss this whole thing? I mean, thank God I did, because just he was so icky of a person.
I mean, it's just like, and I loved him like, well, maybe they've learned a lot about the internet and, through this experience. And it's like, is that how that works?
And yet it turns out like him and his buddy are literally like hacking people. Like none of these, like half these people never even sent their photos to anybody.
It was so sad, but it was so just to me just so fascinating. Just the
Oh, and the Marine guy, he's totally part of Anonymous, right?
Oh my God. Right? I mean, he was really cool because he was just like, I'm going to get this shut down.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was watching it, I was like, does the FBI know that you're doing this? Are you messing up their case by doing it? But it was just like.
And the mom.
She was badass.
Yeah, so Tim was like, oh my God, that's you. Like, that would be you. Like,
she was badass. I mean, I actually compared her to you too, about the whole, like just diving deep and learning and educating herself. And it's like, we're going to figure this out. I mean, that was like astounding. So anyway, TV talk, folks, if you guys are looking for something, it's a very brief binge, but it's very satisfying.
Yeah.
In the end, it does give you some satisfaction. So
we watched that, and we watched the one about Woodstock 99.
I started that, but could not get into it.
Oh, okay. That was like so my era of like music, and when I worked at the music store and everything, and so we were totally into that one.
I want to sit down and watch it because I think I started it after, and I was just still on the. It was the tonal change. It was it was too much. And I was like, oh, no.
Oh, we did it the other way. We watched Woodstock first. And then
that's what we have to do. Cause I basically just went to my phone and found a scam podcast. And so I could listen to scams because that was like where my head was at. And I needed to get that out of my system before I can sit down and do the Woodstock one. And I feel like so out of it because I think I kind of remember that happening.
Oh, I remember watching it on MTV. Tim said him and his friends had the pay-per-view and were watching all the like live stuff because that was like totally our like era of stuff.
Yeah, not me. Okay.
All right.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Until next week.
Bye.
Bye.